is being recorded.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Seerath, for sending your homework sheet. I'm really very impressed and really proud of you. I'm sure other kids will get a chance to do it over the weekend. So it's with you. You can use it now, or you can also, once you do it now, you can use it later when you are actually facing another type of situation. So it's really handy. The idea was to give you some kind of a little souvenir from this series so you have something to look back and see, oh, I have this tool to use. So just to do a quick recap, last session we did review some steps of anger management. So we talked about how after we recognize the level of anger on our feelings thermometer or anger thermometer, we try to breathe, take a pause, do different things to calm down. And then we look at what the problem is that's making me angry. And then we use different techniques to solve that problem. And then we looked at a traffic light method to solve the problem. So again, that red light, when I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm climbing on that thermometer again, or I've started to calm down a bit, I take a pause, I breathe, and then I, come to the yellow light and think of three different ways to solve this problem. And then I look at what is the most helpful alternative. And the way to choose the alternative, and I'll come to this, is by looking at their advantages and disadvantages. So the alternatives that you think about, you'll do pros and cons, or what is the advantage if I chose this alternative way of behaving versus that. And then you kind of are able to make a good choice. The worksheet that you got was basically similar to looking like this slide. So it was an empty sheet, of course, where you had to put the situation, what's making you angry, and notice what's it feeling like in your body. You took a pause and you took some breaths. You looked at different alternatives and you did pros and cons, or advantages and disadvantages of those each alternatives. And then you found an option that you chose, and then you looked at the result, whether it worked or not. So this is how it probably looked, or somewhat similar to the previous slide it looked. And then, so today we are going to go to some other methods of managing anger. And this new technique is talking about investigating thoughts that maintain anger. So, I wanted to spend a moment first to help understand why are thoughts important and how they actually play a role also in maintaining anger or maintaining, some kind of negative emotions. So we know this is proven by science over and again. And in my last series, when we did thought management, some of you guys have probably seen this slide. But this is my favorite slide because this is kind of really makes sense when I explain it using this. So what we understand is the way I think affects the way I feel, and the way I feel affects the way I behave. And when you know, I'm going through those emotions and looking at different ways to respond or react, I'm certainly also noticing some changes in my body, like we talked about, earlier in the sessions. We did. You remember that slide? Picture of a man or like a stick figure with what happens when we get angry. We notice some changes in our body. Maybe our heart's beating fast. Maybe we are feeling that warmth. Maybe we feel that heaviness in our breathing. Maybe we feel that sweaty palms when we are nervous. So, our body is very much in tuned with what our emotions are. And so, what typically happens is if I am upset about something, like, I want to eat ice cream right now, and my mom is saying, no, you have a cold, so I'm not going to give you ice cream, for example, but you are getting upset about it because you really want it. And she's probably trying to say, hey, you're still not recovered from the cold. It's not a good idea. But, of course, you feel like I'm fine and I can have one scoop of ice cream. So you are, thinking of like, I'm not being listened to. My mom doesn't love me. Maybe those kind of are thoughts that are going in your head when she's saying no. And then the emotions it's generating is I'm feeling really frustrated and annoyed by my mom that she's not listening to my little request. And then the behavior can be, again, this is where keeping in touch with your emotions, looking at that feelings thermometer or emotions thermometer or anger thermometer, what emotions are building. Is it starting with just being frustrated and annoyed? And am I actually climbing into that 8 to 10 anger zone? That, often then leads to, if I'm not catching it and using those steps of traffic light, I may land into a behavior of screaming and yelling and saying, you don't love me. All I'm asking is for an ice cream, and stomp away and go to your room or something like that. That may happen. Or you may say, let me take a pause, let me breathe, let me see what are my choices, what are my alternatives, what would be the advantage or disadvantage of choosing one of this. And if I say, okay, mom has a point, I want to not get more sick. And so I'm going to wait for a couple more days and then I'll be able to have ice cream. Maybe that's what you will come to. But there is a very clear cycle between our thoughts and our emotions and then how that drives our behavior. So we know that thoughts really play a big role in also maintaining our anger. So we need to investigate what am I thinking, what's leading to more strong emotions and leading to more, extreme anger maybe, and how that can lead to some poor choices that I might regret, right? That explosion that I might feel sorry about, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I could have not done it that way. Okay, so based on, now that we have that concept about thoughts are how our feelings are, where thoughts drive our feelings, or thoughts are the foundation where our feelings come from. We also know that our thoughts come from our beliefs. So, how many, I guess this might be something maybe kids know or may not know. How many of you guys know what a belief is? Anybody amongst the kids?
I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know that a belief is what you believe, and if you believe it, then you feel strongly about it.
That's great. That's awesome. You actually nailed it. What's your name?
Approve?
Purv, you did a fabulous description. That's right on. So, like you said, beliefs are what you believe, and you strongly believe that's what it is true. And often our thoughts come from how we believe about something. Would you agree?
Mhm. Yes.
So I'll go over the next few slides and help you understand how beliefs play a role in creating different kinds of thoughts. And then, like we said, thoughts um, drive feelings and behaviors, like we went reviewed in the previous slide. And I saw Seerath also responded. Poonam, I lost that chat window. It came for a flash. So what did Seerath say?
She is also saying the same. A belief is one someone is believing in something, so it makes their belief system.
Right. Okay, well, great. I'm super impressed. The kids really know what beliefs are. You know what? When I was your age, I did not know what beliefs. I would not be, I think, in a position to define beliefs like you guys did. So I'm super blown away. And this whole concept, I wish when I was your age, I knew about this. I feel that I, you know, kind of waited for 25, 30 years maybe of my life to understand this. And when I learned it the first time, that, oh my gosh, my feelings just don't come from anywhere. They come from my thoughts and they have a role in how I behave or what I choose to do. I was like, it was like a light bulb went off for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can find a way to manage my feelings and my behavior then. And all I need to do is to make sure I'm paying attention to what I'm thinking and work on changing that if I need to, if they're not right kind of thoughts. So, so I'm, because of that, I mean, I feel like, I feel like every kid should know this from earlier on. If you knew this, I think life could be much more fun and easy to manage, especially the challenging parts of our lives. Okay, so we'll move along. So I'm going to give you some examples of, some problematic beliefs that, may play into causing strong emotions and leading to anger. And I've chosen a few different ones. There's many, many ones. So for instance, in this particular top example of a topic of appreciation, so, what might be the beliefs that I might have, and what might be the problem with that? And what might be a more rational or more logical or more, more kind of better way, in a much more better way, in a way to think about that, and how I can modify my beliefs sometimes to modify how I think about things. So here, in this category of appreciation, the kid is saying, if my parents really love me, they would give me what I ask for and let me do what I want. So for instance, I want that ice cream, I want to watch the show on this TV for 2 hours, whatever you're wanting. And so if you go with the belief that if they love me, they should do what I want and give me whatever I'm asking for. If they really love me, they will let me buy those things, or like buy those pants that I want, or clothes, or shirt, or top, or whatever, or go to the concert. So, why do you think those are problematic beliefs? You think there is a problem with thinking that way?
Yes.
Why would you say that's a problem? There is a problem there. Tell me.
Because if you think that way, then you'll always think that way, and you won't think about the things that you have, things
Right.
that you
Right.
actually have.
And is that the only way to measure that your parents really love you, if they let you do everything you want and buy what you want?
No.
No. Right? Would other kids agree?
Yes.
Yes. Mhm. So I mean, sometimes that's what we get caught up in, and we kind of extreme, take it to little extreme, and we say, well, if they love me, they should not let me not do this and that. But because if I'm stuck with that belief that if they love me, they should allow me to do whatever I want, then anything not allowed to do will create, a feeling of feeling not appreciated, feeling frustrated and annoyed and angry, right? But if I looked at for a second, I say, okay, where is this thought of like, you know, they don't love me, they don't care about me is coming from? Oh, maybe it's coming from this underlying belief that I have, that that's how they should show their appreciation. Oh, but what's wrong with that belief? Well, appreciation is not the only way to measure. Is it not a way to measure, by them allowing you things and give you permission for things? Many times they don't give those things or permissions because they do care for you. Maybe you're at your age, you're not understanding why your parents are saying no for something, or maybe sometimes you understand, but at that moment you're not willing to listen to a no. But it's not like all black, all white. It's not all and none. Like if they refuse to get you that extra pair of shirts or pants because you love them, it's not because that's the way for them to show that they appreciate you or they loved you, right? And then if I am upset because they don't let me buy that pair of pants or go to the concert, but that doesn't mean they don't love me, right? So sometimes checking our underlying beliefs helps us to investigate the thought that I'm having that's driving this feeling of feeling like frustrated, angry, or really annoyed. So similarly, if there is a belief around acceptance, if I have a strong belief, everybody should accept me and want to spend time with me. If they don't, it's because they are angry at or jealous of me, or they are a bunch of fools. Like if I go with that strong belief that no matter what, everybody should just accept me and spend time with me, then that's a little bit extreme because people, it's not like you're bad, that's why they don't want to accept you or spend time with you. It might be that they they like you, but they may not like you enough to spend all the time, or they may have other friends. There's room to wiggle here. It's not like, again, it should be that black and white, like it has to be this, otherwise not. And this type of belief can lead to things like, they are jealous of me, people don't like me because I'm too smart, or I'm whatever. There could be thoughts that can lead to conflict in your friendships or other relationships. So the more rational belief, the more acceptable way to think about this belief is, not everyone will accept me. I will have to come to the terms with the fact that some people won't accept me and they have a right. It's okay. Like, not everybody is liked by every person around them. Like, when people, like, in president's election, or even like whatever elections you also do, sometimes elections in your school for school council, you know, nobody's ever known to get 100% of the votes. Even if they are known to be the best of the best candidate, they may get 8 out of 10 maybe votes, but they may not still get those two votes, 10 out of 10. But that does not mean that those two people, like, because of those two people, you're not good enough, or that person. So it's a fact. Like, that's, we all have different preferences and likings, and some people will accept me or like me more than others, and that's okay. So, that could be another thing to check. Like, what is my underlying belief under this thinking, which might be driving this thought, which is making me feel so mad. Any questions on this? Does this make sense? Okay, so let's move along. There's a couple other categories, and there's quite a few that I picked. Sorry,
Excuse
was
me.
there a question?
Yes. Hello? Can you hear us?
Go ahead, Anand. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, my daughter has a question.
Mhm.
Here you go.
What happens if our parents don't like us?
What happens if they don't like you?
Yeah.
Do you think, is that really true that they don't like you?
I mean, like if they don't buy what I want.
So if they don't buy you what you want, is that why you're saying they don't like you?
No, I don't mean like.
Okay, help me understand, sweetie. I am trying to understand what you're asking.
Can you ask again the same thing?
Like, I mean, like if they don't let us do something.
Uh-huh. So whenever they don't let you do something that you really want to do, is that how you usually think, or you feel that they don't love you or they don't like you?
No, like I feel sad.
You feel sad, of course. See, I can totally understand if you really want to watch that extra, the extra episode of that show, or if you're done with your screen time and you want to still play another, game or whatever that might be, or you want your friend to stay home longer for a play date. There might be various things, but then sometimes, for various good reasons, parents have to make those difficult choices where they have to say, no, this is the end for this, you know, and they have to enforce some rules that you may not like. And it's clear that you may feel like, oh, it's really making me feel so sad, maybe upset, maybe frustrated. And that's okay, as long as it's not like leading to thinking like, oh, that means they don't love me, they don't care about me, and they never look at what I want. If you're going to that extreme way of thinking, it might be a good idea to check, is this really the right way of thinking? Because I know those types of thinking, or that those types of thoughts are going to make my feelings get stronger, and I might get to a place of extreme sadness or extreme being mad, right? So that's when it's important to take a pause and breathe and say, yes, I get it. I'm not saying it's not good to be sad. Yes, you're upset, and it's okay to be frustrated and sad, but it's kind of important to not fuel your feelings of sadness and being mad by thinking more unreasonably about it. Does that make sense? Okay.
And
So
actually,
here,
one example was coming to my mind. There are always rules and discipline, right?
yeah,
Like on the road, also, we need to follow speed limit. It's not, I like to drive at 70 in the rain zone of 25. I will drive at 70. I don't care, right? So there are rules in the family, there are disciplines, and but I have that strong belief system. I want to do good for my kids, and I do have that trust with my kids, right? Kids also have that trust. My parents will always do best for me. Yeah, if they're saying no for one thing, that doesn't mean they don't love me. They might have their own reasons. So I always ask my kids, like, this is my point of view, and it's okay to have difference in opinions. But
right.
as you recommended, it's not a good idea to be sad or think in that extreme direction, like, my parents don't love me. So it's always a good idea to have that candid, open conversation. And
Mhm.
if not one time, second time, third time, right? So try to like that empathy, right? I know I'm asking a lot
Mhm.
from kids, but think from parents' perspective also. If they're saying no, why are they saying no? It might be for my benefit, right? If we want to change our thinking, that's how I think.
Mhm.
When I'm like boss is saying no to me for something, I yeah, I may feel frustrated, but then I say, okay, why my boss said no for this? So
Mhm.
then I get more clarity. So it's always a good idea to put yourself in others' shoe and find out why that person is saying no.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very good point, Poonam. So, when you are putting yourself in other person's shoes, what that means is you're looking at the situation from their point of view or from their perspective. And, the same things might start to look a little bit different. And you might be like, oh, yeah, there is a little bit of a point they have too, right? So, I'll share an example that actually just happened today with my daughter. She's turning 14 tomorrow, and of course, she's been asking me for more social media access, and she's been asking for like an Instagram account, which I have been kind of not comfortable with yet. So I have been pushing it, and of course, we've had a lot of conversation and discussion about what our concerns about that are, or what why we feel like she's not ready yet, or whatnot. But that's besides the point. But then my nephew, my sister's son, he's 10 years old, and his parents made that decision, and it's every family's decision. They chose to give him a phone more recently, and she was telling me, oh, you know what? He got a phone already. He's only 10. He's only in fifth grade. And I am I remember you gave it to me in sixth grade. And I was like, yeah, every family has their choices, their, rules about this. And so they must have thought through this and they might have made that decision. So what? And so she was like, but he's only in fifth grade. And so I was like, yeah, and then she's like, oh, immediately in a second, that clicked to her how when she was in a caring older sister's role, she felt like, oh, he might be a little young to have that privilege or whatever she was thinking might be her concerns. And so she's like, oh, mom, I get it now. Just I know why you're not so comfortable giving me that Instagram account because just like how I am feeling a little uncomfortable about him being young to get the phone, and maybe that's what you think. It's about you feeling right and comfortable for certain things, and there may not be any other great reason than that. And I was like, yeah. So I think the reason I am just sharing this is because when she put myself, she was in some ways today's situation made her force to even think more, to be in that caregiver role or an authority role where your parents are supposed to think about your good and make the right decisions for you. When she felt like that by being that older sister and a caring kind of sister role, she like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that idea that maybe it's too early for him to get it. So, you know, that's what helps when we put ourselves in that role or in that would have that perspective, it opens up a whole different way of thinking at it differently. It may whole open up that whole logical way of looking at it and may not feel as extreme or problematic. Okay, so Poonam, I'm looking at the clock. Should I go through this slide or should we um, move to your last slide and a quick 1 minute meditation?
So Dr. Leena, I think Namita was trying to ask question. Even Ravi, is your son having any question?
Uh,
I
yes.
actually had a question, I but
Dr. Leena.
but Dr. Lena told the answer recently.
Oh, you got
Awesome.
the answer? Okay, thank you. Anybody else has a question about anything we discussed today?
Ravi, you were saying something?
No, I think he's fine for now.
Okay, that's good to know. So, Dr. Leena, since we just have 2 minutes left, we can close it today, and then anyway, we're meeting on Monday, same time, so we can start from the belief system slide you're sharing.
Sounds good. Thank you. So you want to take it over from here, Poonam?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have been talking about the value of gratitude, right? So I think all of kids, if you all, I'm sure you say enough thank you to your parents, to your teachers, to your family. So if you don't, so start saying that, because thank you is the best prayer that anyone could say. Thank you expresses extreme gratitude, humility, and understanding. And you know the magic words. Thank you and sorry, they're the magic words. And we were talking about few situations where you may lose a little bit of your temper, but always, have that pause. And if you do realize it was just a mistake, always feel free to go and say sorry to your parents. They will be more than happy to forgive you because they truly, truly love you. So with that, we can do a quick meditation. So I was thinking we should blow bubbles of peace today and have good weekend. So close your eyes and be still. And imagine you're holding a huge bottle of bubble liquid. You're going to blow some bubbles. These are special peace bubbles that would drift through the world, spreading peace everywhere. First, become very peaceful. Now, take your bubble wand and breathe in peace. Inhale, and as you blow out as many bubbles as you can. Imagine you're filling each bubble with peace. Breathe in peace again and blow out peace into the bubbles. Now watch the bubbles drift upwards into the sky and move along. Where in the world would you like to send your peace bubbles to? I'm sure you can spread a lot of peace because it is needed everywhere. So whenever you want to spread peace, just do that exercise, start blowing bubbles. You will feel peace and you will spread that peace in your house, your neighborhood, and you can send it in the world also.